Hi everyone, and welcome to another of our Zoom catch-ups. And we thought it was about time we heard from the CEO, Neil Dalrymple. For the month of June, we thought we'd have a catch-up with Neil. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Clive.
Yeah, look, we're gradually seeing more and more open up. Victoria, perhaps not so much at the moment, but the rest of the country getting back to normal a little bit.
And I'm sure that all bowlers across the country are very happy about that, and certainly the bowls clubs, particularly those that have been through probably a pretty tough couple of months, and with trade certainly limited or next to nothing. Then it's great to see that people are getting back on the green, hopefully getting back inside the clubs, and some the turnstiles and the cash registers are ticking over. So that's good for bowls, and obviously more broadly, the business community.
Yeah, now obviously you're based in Victoria. The Bowls Australia office is based in Victoria. How's it looking there?
Well, we've had, I suppose there's been, particularly the city of Darebin is one of the 6 hotspots, which is where our national office is located. So, we've, with the advice from the Victorian government and the Premier, they've certainly said to stay at home. If you had been working from home, that we should continue to work from home. So that's what we're doing, Clive, and that takes us through to the 31st of July. So, look, I'm sure it doesn't please everybody, but it's, I suppose it's a little bit of pain for long-term gain. And, whilst we're continuing to operate quite effectively. There's a lot of communication occurring, a lot of support that's being provided for lots of bowls clubs, and look, I think generally we're doing as well as we can do. So, given the circumstances.
You touched on the communication for bowls clubs. So clubs now looking at opening back up, and however that looks in their particular state or territory. There's assistance there via the Bowls Australia website and some great publications.
Yes, no, we were conscious, and like a lot of organisations, working on your return plan. So the return to bowls plan and a toolkit that we've been able to put together. And look, I think it's really important to provide as much support as possible to bowls clubs and members as well, and really try and help clubs get back going and operating effectively. We're keen, and we will do from a BA perspective, some marketing in the months to come, and that's utilising our relationship with Channel 7 now, which is where the Bowl Show, you'll find the Bowl Show has been on. Channel 7 will be doing some advertising through Channel 7 about getting and really highlighting the fact that bowls is back, and that you can get down to your local bowls club. So we see that as one of those important initiatives to support clubs and try and create some strong interest in the sport.
So, of course, you can head to bowls.com.au for all of that information, the recovery plan, the toolkit, and, of course, all the latest updates as they come through to get all your information that you need to be following the right guidelines and be following things along, which is so important, isn't it, Neil? We've got to stick to the rules.
Yes, no, look, I think most people, other than some people in Victoria lately, we've bucked the trend a little bit, unfortunately, which is not great. And but I think again, we've got to follow those guidelines and the right sanitary guidelines that we've got to follow, and also the distancing issues that we need to follow. I think the guidelines, as you referred to, that on our website are very clear in terms of number of people, and I think if we all follow those guidelines, we'll certainly we'll get through this.
Staffing at Bowls Australia, obviously it's a challenging time for everyone, particularly those in the sports environment. Neil, how's Bowls Australia been looking after the staff, and what's it look like for the staff over the last couple of months?
And look, we've been fortunate as an organisation to receive the JobKeeper payment, and I really acknowledge the federal government on that particular point. I mean, that has been a very valuable financial commitment by the government, and it makes a huge difference. We did reduce our staff time, hours and pay by 20% over the last couple of months. So again, trying to minimise some of the financial pain that this particular coronavirus has caused us, and whilst that's been, I suppose, hard for some staff, again, the staff have been fantastic at Bowls Australia. Great connections, as I say, we're continually making great connections and keeping in touch with each other. we have an all of staff meeting at the start of each week on a Monday, and I think that's a great way to just give everyone an update, keep people connected, keep people updated with all the relevant information. And then we generally finishing the week with some entertainment and some trivia, and just again another connection, which is important to keep up morale. We're moving back to full-time work from July the 1st, so which I think is important. As bowls comes back, so does our staff. But again, we'll be monitoring that closely. Again, JobKeeper is going to be important to enable us to do that. So that'll go at this stage through till the end of September. So from a financial point of view, it's going to be a tough year. There's still obviously a bit of pain to come for sure. And Bowls Australia will be supporting clubs through financial relief through our state and territory associations. So, so there'll be definite financial support, and there'll be certainly our revenue will be less in this financial year coming. And we're looking to provide as much support as possible across the board.
And I guess the support there, the direct support available is the regional bowls manager team, of course, that are out there, have been out there through the COVID times, a lot by phone and email, but now things are opening up a little bit. We certainly encourage clubs to get in touch with their regional bowls manager.
Yeah, and I certainly endorse that point, Clive. And I think, with other funding opportunities available both at state government and local government level, the RBM becomes a real important connection between those grants and the clubs. And yes, there's also just other, I suppose, aspects that the RBM can support the club with programs, e.g. Jack Attack and the offering that we have through our Return to Bowls plan through Jack Attack, and trying to get more people down to the clubs in a safe environment.
Fantastic. As we look for the bright light that we're looking for, some of our events take the centre stage, Neil, and there's been some announcements in recent times, particularly around the Australian Championships and the Champion of Champions event. Yeah,
and we're certainly hoping that's a good point. And Clive, we're certainly hoping the week or 2 weeks before the Australian Championships to have the BPL back on the agenda. It looks like that will be our first major event back on the calendar, and it's been we've had a real gap in terms of competition. In fact, I think it was probably the last BPL. But look, it's Club Pine Rivers. We've worked with them. We work with them closely. Obviously, we're looking at all of the guidelines through the Queensland government to create a safe environment at Pine Rivers. We obviously hope that we'll have a reasonable crowd, or we'll be allowed to have a reasonable crowd to create that great atmosphere for the BPL. And so that's the first one. I think it's November 10 to 13, Clive. And then, yes, the Australian Championships and the Champion of Champions will be staged in early December, or late November, early December at the Dandenong Club, which is an area outside of metropolitan Melbourne, not too far from the city these days. So yeah, the Dandenong Club, a fantastic facility, and for those people that have been there, a great club, and certainly will do a fantastic job in hosting this event. And under a roof, fantastic facilities within their complex there, and as I say, they've done a fabulous job in recreating that particular club. So looking forward to and hoping that all the bowlers around the country who are playing in whether it be club or regional or state events, that all of those events do get played over the next couple of months, and that we'll be in a position, and those players will be in a position to come to the Dandenong Club and play off national titles.
Of course, looking forward to an opportunity to get back to some live streaming as well, Neil.
Well, we'll be doing a fair bit of that, I think, given that we're in an indoor facility with a fantastic facility that it really lends itself to some great content, and I'm sure we're going to have great players there. And the live streaming will certainly be a feature of that week.
All right, now speaking of doing some live streaming, the BA Awards night is going to be an online occasion.
Yes, and again, look, it's probably one of those areas that normally it's a fantastic night, and you've got the awards and obviously the Hall of Fame, which is part of that night now. So, but this year we thought, given the circumstances and the economic climate, that we'd do something different. So we're going to pre-produce that particular event, and look, I think it'll come up fantastically well. It should still be mightn't have quite the same atmosphere as a face-to-face event, but what we want to do is recognise, people, clubs across the country in terms of their contributions to the sport, both at an elite level and obviously at a club level too. And this year, Clive, there's going to be a special community award given the bushfires and with COVID-19, a lot of clubs have been doing it tough, and now they're all trying to come back from those particular circumstances. So yeah, the community award, I'm sure, will be a highly contested one, and it'll be a difficult choice to single down a particular person or event, or certainly a club that have achieved something special in that period.
Fantastic. And of course, we've seen the Bowls Show and Without Bias just finish up in recent times, but they're going to be back again later in the year.
That's right. We did a 10-week season to start the year. And look, that was really important to keep a lot of our commercial partners engaged and obviously provide some content for bowlers out there. And look, we know the feedback we get is that, we'd love to see a bit more content. I think we do that really well on our Bowls Australia website. So that, as you know, as well as anyone, there's some fantastic matches. We've been featuring matches every Friday, which has been great to watch some of those games. And yes, the Bowl Show will be back in later in the year. And obviously we're just working on that schedule in terms of timing. And look, it's been fantastic in terms of ratings on Channel 7 to have a slot there on a Sunday afternoon. And look, I'm looking forward to seeing some great content further in the year. And again, we're also on Fox Sports as well. So we've had great support from the Fox Sports team as well.
I'm sure you've been a busy man, and you've been catching up with lots of people through this period, internationally, other sports.
Yeah, no, it's been a busy time, Clive. And look, and it's been good to, you tend to probably, like, I don't know, other people perhaps watching this particular segment, you do have the opportunity to speak to perhaps some people in this remote environment like we're doing now, but more so than you would in normal circumstances. And I know in the first instance, the CEOs of all of our state and territory associations, we have a regular fortnightly catch-up now. We used to do that monthly, and now it's a fortnightly call. And sometimes, you get people who weren't available and they're busy with events, etc. But mate, we've had a full contingent of our CEOs on most of the calls, which has been great, and really just going around the grounds almost and just seeing how everyone is. Secondly, there's a group of about 18 to 20 national sporting organisations that similarly are getting together every couple of weeks. And again, hearing stories from other sports and learning about what they're doing at this time. Some sports are really doing it tough, Clive, too, from a financial perspective. And, they've been really hit hard with COVID-19 and revenue from their membership, has been absolutely decimated, their commercial revenue. So some sports are a bit on the edge at the moment. So we wish them all well. And then in additionally, there's a group of about six of us at the moment in terms of national bowls associations from across the country, CEOs from Canada, from England, from Scotland, from Wales, from New Zealand. We're also getting together every couple of weeks and sharing our stories and sharing lots of information and strategies and just, talking about how this COVID-19 has impacted on bowls across the world. And look, again, we're probably a little bit lucky in Australia that we are as isolated as we are compared to perhaps the UK and certainly Canada, where they are doing it a lot tougher than what we are in Australia. I mean, when you look at the number of cases, unfortunately, the number of deaths, and it's huge over in the UK, and we know that a number of clubs will unfortunately disappear and close the doors. And in the UK in particular, there's mention of clubs that some will not come back from this, which is a great shame, because I think that's one of our real strengths as a sport is our accessibility across Australia. I mean, you can go to a bowls club. It doesn't take you long to drive to a bowls club in Australia. So accessibility is important, and we're feeling that too. Certainly, there's a number of clubs I've just heard even today, Clive, that New South Wales and Queensland, there's a lot of pressure that they may not come back. So we'll certainly be doing our best. The RBMs will be doing their best to support. The state and territory associations will be supporting. those clubs and really helping them to stay alive. And I know within New South Wales and that there are some parent clubs that are looking to, do away with the greens and, build a car park and things like that. Well, I know some of one particular club, which is quite active now on Facebook, I think it's Gladesville, which is really, we wish them well in their fight there. It's a very public fight now. And I suppose, Bowls Australia and Bowls New South Wales and New South Wales Women's Association are right supporting that particular club and maintaining that bowls section and not allowing it to turn into a car park. I think it's very important.
Well said. Well said. Now, you're going on the road. You're going to go and visit some of the clubs, particularly those ones that were affected by the bushfires earlier in the year. Gee, it seems so long ago now. It was only a few months ago, but you're going to get out and visit some of those clubs and see if we can help there.
And look, we're going, first of all, our first port of call is actually in Deniliquin, and Deniliquin RSL Bowls Club, and I've had some conversations with the president there, and they're going to invite a few clubs in. We're actually very fortunate to have some other visitors, Daryl Clout, the president, Steve Glasson and Karen Murphy and Ian Hopper from BCIB. Obviously, Steve is national coach as well, is joining us, and so we're looking forward to a great visit. As I say, we're starting in Deniliquin. We do venture up into Wagga and then a club called Adelong that was impacted by the bushfires. Then our path travels across towards the coastline and around Bateman's Bay and a place called Tomakin. Then we'll be making our way down through Merimbula, and then we'll be dropping in at Malakuta Inlet. And that, again, a couple of clubs there really found it, had a difficult time around the bushfires. A couple of these clubs that we're visiting, Clive, Bowls Australia did donate some money from our disaster relief fund. So for those people that have donated to that fund, we certainly have to say thank you, and you can be assured, well, we have given them money to help them recover, and so it'll be nice to meet the people at those clubs and just see how they're tracking at the moment, see what we can do to help. And then the last part of the visit is through Lakes Entrance and some clubs through that particular region as we go up through Gippsland there in the eastern side of Victoria. So it's a bit of a round trip, Clive, and that's from the 5th of July for about a week. And we're looking forward to, with the support of BCIB, one of our major sponsors, we're very pleased to have BCIB coming along on this trip. And not only will we see those clubs that have been affected, but obviously we'll catch up with a number of other people across the sport, and be a good chance to connect. And I'm sure I'm looking forward to getting out, and hopefully, we'll be able to I'll be allowed across the border too, which is probably important. And for those that are worried, I don't live in one of those hot spots that are in Victoria, so I think I'm doing the right thing by driving up there. So,
are you the main draw card, or do you think Karen Murphy might be the main draw card?
Well, what do you think?
Look, Neil.
Steve Glasson probably thinks he's the major draw card.
I'm sure.
Anyway. But I think Karen will be very popular, and whatever I say or Daryl Clout might say might pale into insignificance.
Very good, Neil. Look, we appreciate that you are very busy. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us to give everyone that update, a comprehensive one, which is fantastic.
No, thanks, Clive, and I enjoyed chatting to you once again.